Thinking of starting a home care agency in New York? You're in the right spot. I'm Carl Pierre, and I'm here to walk you through the process step by step. Starting a home care agency is a fulfilling venture, offering an opportunity to impact your community and patients' lives significantly. We'll cover everything from legal requirements to the operational setup. If you're ready to learn about transforming this dream into a reality and possibly expanding beyond New York, stay tuned. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about how to start, grow, and eventually sell your healthcare company. Firstly, you're going to have to get acquainted with New York State's Department of Health regulations for home care agencies. You're going to have to learn about electronic verification of visits, the requirements that are specific to the type of agency that you're going to form, and more. It's essential for you to operate legally, ensuring high quality care. To get the necessary information, you're going to want to just Google New York State Department of Health home care agency licensing, and all of the information governing licensing, the regulations, all the things that you need to know will be presented right there. If you just begin to navigate all of these details, you'll start to get a big picture of what the state requires from a regulatory standpoint, where to get the application, where you're going to be providing services, and the nuances of the process. So I think if you're going to start one of these businesses, you have to start there. You can't just blindly go into it not knowing what the governing body, which is the Department of Health, expects of you as an agency. You're going to also want to determine what type of agency are you going to be. Are you going to be a licensed home care service agency, or are you going to be a certified home health care agency? The licensed home health care agencies have a different designation and different charter, and they're allowed to do different things than the certified home care agencies. The best way to look at it is kind of like how there are Medicaid agencies, which is going to be like the LICSA, the Licensed Home Care Service Agency. And then there are CHAs, which is what we call them in New York, which are the certified home health care agencies, but those are skilled agencies billing Medicare and private insurance. The regulations for both are very different. Even though both can technically provide skilled services, New York is a different animal. So that's why reading up on the regulations will let you know exactly what sort of agency you want to be. Once you're clear on regulations, next is to set your agency's legal structure. Decide on the most beneficial entity type for your situation, such as an LLC or a corporation. Then you're going to have to secure a tax identification number from the IRS. This step is foundational for the legal operation and financial organization of your business. There's always a debate as to which sort of entity should you form. A lot of people are into LLCs these days, and I really don't have a horse in the race. I personally prefer the corporation structure over LLC for typical businesses, especially in the service industry. If you're going to be investing in assets, then an LLC makes more sense. And remember, in New York, filing an LLC could get quite expensive because not only are you filing for the LLC, but you also have to pay for a publishing fee, which means that you have to post that you formed your LLC in a newspaper for 2 weeks, and that can run you maybe an additional $2,000 just for the publication portion of creating your entity. Now, as far as your tax ID number, you could go and work with a CPA to get it, but you could actually apply for that directly online and get your tax identification number. So once you have your regulations and you have your business set up, you're ready to move on to the next step. But before we move into that, we're doing a Health to Wealth seminar where we're focusing on how to start a medical staffing or nursing agency and how to start a home care agency. If that's something that you think you could benefit from, which I believe you will benefit from, I highly recommend that you join us at our next Health to Wealth seminar where you can learn how to start one of these businesses, the intricacies of marketing and growing the business, operational tools. You could meet and network with other owners and operators and really start off on the right foot. Just click the link down below that I have pinned in the comment section. You'll be able to join us at our very next seminar. Before diving into running your business and forming a business plan, it's crucial to understand licensing requirements in New York. This involves getting a certificate of need determination and demonstrating the necessity of your agency to the community. Now, even though you have your business set up and you want to start developing your business plan, it's important to understand the licensing requirements in New York. New York requires a certificate of need determination, which is a lengthy process, but it's necessary for you to even get licensed. The licensing application fee is $2,000, and it's going to be a significant investment that you're going to have to make to be compliant with the laws. Understanding the requirements of the licensing application is going to be the very first step of planning how you're going to approach this business. And here's why. In New York, there was a moratorium where they stopped issuing new licenses. And before they started to allow new agencies to come to market again, they did a study to determine where are agencies needed. And if you look at the application, and if you research, like I told you to research, you're going to see that there's certain regions that require you to prove that your agency is needed. And you're going to have to make a case that maybe you're servicing a special audience of people, a special language set, nationality, sensitivities, disease process that is not very focused on. And they're going to have to review that and green light it on a state level. So almost impossible to achieve. So if you're in New York City, for example, they feel that there's enough agencies in New York City to service the population. But there are a list of other counties that are in high need of agencies, and you don't have to do that proof. They've already done their research, and that has been determined that these specific counties require more agencies and aren't going to have to kind of jump through the hoops and circles. They just have to go through the actual licensing process. The first step is actually submitting that certificate of need application, and it's going to cover who's opening the agency, where's the agency going to be located, what's going to be your service area, does it fall into one of those regions? If yes, provide the support to prove that another agency is needed there. If no, move on to the next steps. And it's at this point that your application even begins to be processed and considered. And if you decide to submit the application incomplete, you're going to burn that $2,000 fee, which is why I said it's kind of important for you to really understand what sort of agency you want to be, who you're going after, and does it even make sense? Because to me, it's not going to be worth it to spend $2,000 per an application if you aren't clear that you have a high probability of completing the application process and eventually being licensed. Now you might be thinking, what is the alternative to this? And the only alternative is to really buy into another agency. So you could go and acquire another agency, or you could acquire a license, but that starts at around $400,000 these days, and obviously into the millions depending on the size of the agency. So if you're looking to get started, you should be looking at the areas that need agencies, build your business there, and then try to apply later on for additional counties and territories after you have some traction in the region that you started in. With a clear grasp on licensing and your entity all set up, craft a comprehensive business plan. Outline your agency's services, market analysis, and financial forecast, ensuring that they align, again, with New York's regulatory landscape. This document not only guides your path, but also attracts potential investors or partners. Your business plan is going to change substantially as you run your business. This is something that I try to tell everybody that we consult, because at Passive Workforce, we help companies get licensed, start their businesses, and so on. And a lot of people are like, I need to do a business plan. I'm working with an SBA lender, and they told me I got to put together this comprehensive business plan. And business planning is good because it helps you get an idea of the landscape. But once you're in it, it changes, right? Once you're at war and dodging bullets, training sometimes goes out the window and survival instincts have to kick in. It's the same thing in your business. So what's good about the business planning and working with companies like ours is that we can help you really narrow down what sort of agency you want to be. And the cool thing about New York is that if you want to start running a part of the home care business as a companion care agency, this means hands-off care. You can't do personal care. You can only do companion care. So that's assistance with housekeeping, companionship, running errands, etc. You can't touch the patient, but you could start running a private pay companion business while your license is processing and you're determining exactly what sort of agency you want to be. You may continue down the private path once you get licensed, allowing you to do more skilled services. Maybe you're going to have to start providing live-in care where the caregiver is actually living in the patient. Maybe you decide to specialize in dementia care. I think while you're running for your application or processing your application, you certainly should start thinking about running a companion care business, because you're going to be able to take on any private pay client within the state of New York as long as you don't violate the rules and regulations where you start to provide and creep into personal care. If you do that and you're found to do that, you'll probably be banned from securing a license in that state. And you want to make sure that you don't kind of step on the toes or kind of throw salt in the eye of the regulators. But if you're already running a successful companion care business and things are orderly, it's going to give you a good foundation for when you actually do get licensed and start maybe dealing with Medicaid clients or insurance clients and so on. Now, it might take a couple of months, but once your license is secured, you'll have to focus on your operational setup. This includes choosing the right home care software for scheduling and compliance, establishing your HR protocols for recruitment and hiring, and crafting patient care procedures. A well-organized operation is key to delivering quality care and scaling your business. If this is your first time coming across my channel, I'm the owner and operator of a few different home care agencies. We've grown home care agencies over 8 figures, and we decided that we were also going to develop software for the industry. There's a couple softwares that are available out there, but none of them really hit the mark from the operator's perspective. So we set out to create our own, and it's called OnTime ITS. If you go to ontimeits.com, you can demo our software and see that it's the right fit for you. And also, if you're in the phase of providing that companion care, it's going to help bring some of the structure that you need to run and operate these businesses. Because, again, it's built from the operator's perspective. So onboarding of staff, managing of your clients, doing your billing, you can invoice directly from our system, you can manage schedules. So as you're going through this application process and you're starting to run your companion business, I highly recommend that you work with our software because it's going to help you create the operational framework that you need, especially once you get licensed. Also, once they've approved your initial application, there's going to be a secondary review of your policy and procedures. They're going to want to know what your policy and procedures are around patient care, patient privacy, patient's bill of rights, how do you handle emergencies? It's a lot of policies. So as that application is being kind of transitioned from application to pre-licensing and finally licensed, all of those things are going to have to be thought through. So again, I always recommend working with consultants because when we started our agency years ago, it took us about 4 years to get all the policies correct. We're talking about thousands of pages condensed down into 4 binders, reviewed by the state and approved. So to avoid kind of dragging out this process for too long, I always suggest working with consultants that are going to be able to give you state-specific policies so that that's a little easier. But if you're running that companion side of the business ahead of that, some of those policies are also going to be useful because they're going to help shape your mind and your business for when you go live on the other end of the business. The last thing I want to discuss is how to market your agency to attract clients and build a network within the healthcare community. Effective marketing and networking are going to be important for growing your client base and establishing your agency's presence in the county that you selected to operate in. A scary thing that I see with a lot of the companies that we consult for is that they think since the licensing process is so difficult that once they get the license, it's going to open the floodgates and a bunch of patients are going to show up and they're going to be kind of inundated with business. And it doesn't work that way. I don't want to misguide you and make you think that once you get licensed, you're going to be able to build this multi-million-dollar agency, etc. No, you're still going to have to go out there and find your patients. And the best way to find patients is really establishing a good referral network. Now, the way that you're going to do that is you're going to go into the community and target the physicians and the community centers that cater to your audience. If you're going to try to work with developmentally delayed people, you're going to want to go to day programs that service developmentally delayed people. You're going to want to go to the school systems. You're going to want to contact churches and other community workers who work with that population. Maybe you're targeting diabetes, or you're targeting dementia care, or what have you. It doesn't really matter what your niche is going to be. The important thing is that you need to start thinking, where does this population that I plan on servicing hang out, and who also supports these same people? And that's where you want to build your network. So it could be physicians, it could be the leaders, so community leaders. You want to make sure that they know that you exist and that you're there to support a specific problem within the community. And The way that you're doing so is by providing these personal care services through your licensed agency. You have to go out there and meet people. You're also going to want to make sure that you have some web presence, right? So that when people are Googling and searching for services that you provide, they could find you, and that's going to be a way to potentially get a few leads as well. Don't count exclusively on the online side of the business, because more often than not, when people are looking for help, they go to an already trusted source. They go to their doctor, they go to their social worker, they go to their community leader to ask for help with their loved one or with their particular situation. So it's more important to be out there developing relationships with that potential referral source, that connection piece, than it is to kind of whip up this gorgeous website and hang huge billboards all over the place. It doesn't quite work that way. In the healthcare business, it's more of a relationship business, and your marketing strategy should be all about building relationships. Launching a home care agency in New York is a detailed process, but with the right guidance, it's absolutely achievable. If you need assistance getting started, or you're looking to grow your agency, visit PassivWorkforce.com and book a consultation call with me or somebody on my team. We're here to help you through each step from startup to scaling and beyond. Subscribe for more tips on building a successful company. And remember, we're here to guide you on your own journey to building a 7, 8, or even 9-figure home healthcare business. See you in the next one.